This is my Apres ski collection swatch and review. This was the last color pass of 2024, so it was the winter color pass. So it usually comes with a card to tell about the colors that come in it, and it has some nail art ideas on the back. The extra gift that came with this color pass this time was an Orly breathable, and it's called the Antidote, and it's a dark kind of berry red or berry pink color. And here are the bottles in the sleeve. I'm actually already wearing them as nail art. I had to film this a little bit out of my usual order, but hopefully it works out. Right off the bat, the things that I noticed was that we have two kind of neutral, kind of beige-ish creams. This collection is 4 creams and 2 very pretty sparkly glitters. This one here, the light green, is also very similar to one that we got in 2023, but this one is green instead of blue. The other thing that I noticed is that they seem to have kind of an elements theme going on for the rest of the year. Like the first color pass of 2024 was like water themed. It was aqua aura. The next one seemed to be air or sky themed. It was cloudscapes. And then we had the, what was it called? Terra Nova. Then we had the Terra Nova collection, which was like earth and rock kind of themed. And then instead of fire, we got ski lodge. So I guess that skiing is the 4th element. Good to know. It's a little cheating to say it now, but before I tried them, I was very excited about these 2 glitters, and for this dark blue, I thought it was very pretty. So anyway, let's get into the swatches. I'm starting with Last Run. It's going to be a little bit different this time. I will be swatching on my right hand, which is my dominant hand. I have a cut on my left index finger that I don't want to expose to acetone too much. But anyway, Last Run is a blue cream. I would call it a dark blue, but it's not so dark that it looks black. You could still definitely tell it's blue. It's very saturated. This was an easy formula to work with, even though I was doing it on my dominant hand. It's an easy 2-coater, and it has a self-leveling formula that Orly usually has for their creams. Here is Last Run in 2 coats. This is probably my favorite out of this collection. I just really, really like this shade of blue. Next, we will be looking at Snow Bunny, and it's one of the kind of neutral beige sort of shades. This one has quite a bit of pink in the undertone, which makes it almost an exact match to my skin tone. This is the same self-leveling formula. It might be a 1-coater on some people. I found it to be just a little bit streaky in 1 coat even after it dried down a bit, and so I put on the 2nd coat. This will probably be a good nail art polish. I probably will not be wearing it by itself unless I really want to have mannequin hands. And here it is in 2 coats. I think it will probably look better on someone with a deeper skin tone than me. Next up is Fresh Powder. It is a very, very light green. It almost looks white. I ended up liking this a bit more than I thought that I would. This was another 2-coater, very self-leveling. It looks a little streaky until it dries down, and by then the kind of streaks are gone, but it did need a second coat. I was pleasantly surprised it did not need a third coat, even though it's such a light color. I'm going to just repeat myself on pretty much all these. It's a very easy formula to work with. Here is fresh powder in 2 coats. Next up is Chalet Getaway, which is the second neutral in this collection. This one was not a complete match to my skin tone, so I liked it a little bit better just wearing it on its own. This one was opaque in 2 coats for me, not streaky. It was a self-leveling formula again. I personally liked Chalet Getaway a little bit better than Snow Bunny, and I kind of wish that they didn't have 2 beige neutrals in the same collection. But anyway, here is Chalet Getaway in 2 coats. So now on to the 2 glitter polishes. This one is called Double Diamond, and it's a fine particle silver glitter polish. So for the 2 glitter polishes, I'll be wearing them by themselves on my index finger, and then I'll show them over 3 different colors. So this is Double Diamond over Last Run. They're both a little bit, I guess, heavily packed to be a normal topper, but you definitely could use them as toppers. Now it's over Fresh Powder and Chalet Getaway. The second coat over my index finger. I will probably wear them in 2 coats. I personally did not see a huge difference between the second coat and the third coat. You will get a little bit of visible nail line, but I think that the glitters kind of distract from it. Next up is Twinkling Lights. And this one is kind of a dusty rose, I would describe the color of the glitters, or maybe a rose gold. And the same thing, I'm going to wear it on its own on my index finger. This is Twinkling Lights over Last Run. I really enjoyed both of these glitter polishes. I like them even more than I thought I would just seeing them in the bottle. Here is Twinkling Lights over Fresh Powder. My camera's having a little bit of trouble with all the glitter. And Twinkling Lights over Snow Bunny. Again, just like Double Diamond, you will get visible nail line with Twinkling Lights, but it's on purpose. You know, it doesn't look like an accident, it's sheer on purpose, and I think that the glitter distracts enough from it. So here is Twinkling Lights. The last one that I am swatching is the Antidote, and it's from the Orly Breathable line. This was the kind of extra that was put in with the collection this time. And again, this is a really good cream formula. This was 2 coats on me. I think you could maybe get away with it in 1 coat depending on application, but I just liked how it looked better in 2 coats. And it's a fun kind of like berry pink or berry red. I think this color is a nice addition to the collection and the, I guess, color story of ski resort or ski lodge. And here is the Antidote in 2 coats. Time for comparisons. But I do want to say what's on my nails. I usually like to do some nail art using the collection that I was swatching. So here it is. I did a, see, sometimes it's called a dry marbling or a squishy manicure. So what I did was I painted the polish onto this little silicone mat, and then I squished it around and let it dry, and then I peeled it up and basically just cut it to size, like made them into, what's it called? I'm having a brain fart. Decals. And on my thumb, I layered the 2 glitter polishes because I was just curious how that would look, and I think I really like it. So time for comparisons. First up, I'm going to compare Last Run. I'm comparing Last Run to Beauty Guard's Navy and Essie's Step Out of Line. So here is Beauty Guard's Navy, here is Last Run in the middle, and then Step Out of Line on the end. It's brighter than the other 2, and it seems maybe just a little more saturated. So I think it is different than those 2. Next up, comparing to Fresh Powder. I'm comparing it to Essie's Mint Candy Apple and China Glaze's Mystic Garden. And Fresh Powder's in the middle, and it is quite a bit lighter than both of these. Mint Candy Apple has a touch more blue in it as well. The other one that I wanted to compare it to, although I didn't compare it on the swatch, was Snow Angel from 2023. It's a very, very light, almost white blue, and Fresh Powder is a very, very light, almost white green. So they are different. When I first opened it, I immediately thought of Snow Angel, but one is green and one is blue. Next up is Snow Bunny, which is pretty much my skin color. And I am comparing it to Sinful Colors Easygoing and LA Colors Giggle. So Sinful Colors Easygoing is a touch more yellow and it's lighter. Snow Bunny is more of a beige kind of pink, which I thought it would be closer to Giggle than it is, even though Giggle has some glitters in it. Giggle is more pink and Snow Bunny has more beige in it. Next comparison is Chalet Getaway. And because I'm doing these out of order, I actually have the first Color Pass of 2025 to compare it to, which I'm pretty sure I compared them in the last video anyway. So Chalet Getaway is in the middle. It has more brown. Well, I don't know if it's quite fair to say it has more brown. It has more yellow in its undercolor. And Shaggin' Wagon from the 2025 collection, the 1970s collection, does have just a touch of pink, but they are fairly similar. And I'm also comparing it to Cafe con Leche by Charmed Lacquer. So here is, Shaggin' Wagon, and it has just a bit more pink in it. And LA Getaway has more yellow, and then Cafe con Leche has even more yellow undertone to it. All of the creams I swatched out on the swatch wheel in 2 coats, and then these glitters I did in 1 coat so that I guess glitter density would show up better. So I am comparing Twinkling Lights to Hollow Taco's Rose Gold Flake Taco, and Color Vibes Glitterific. I usually find Color Vibe in the Dollar Tree. I'm not sure if it's sometimes in drugstores as well. But anyway, you can see that the Rose Gold Flake Taco is flakies instead of glitters for one thing, but it's also more sparse. Twinkling Light is a lot more densely packed, and it's much smaller glitters. And for Glitterific, the Color Vibe polish, I think that the pink polishes are actually a similar size, but they're not as densely packed. And then there's also some larger holographic glitters in there. So even though the color is very similar, they're quite different polishes. For Double Diamond, I am comparing it to Orly's Tiara. I always want to put an extra vowel in there. I'm comparing it to Orly's Tiara and Zoya's Eclipse. So right off the bat, Orly's, whoops, I put these in the wrong order. So this one is Double Diamond, and it is smaller particle glitters, and they're more densely packed. The middle is Tiara, which normally I would have those switched, but anyway, this one is Tiara, and they're also silver glitters, but they're a little more sparse, and they're also a little bit bigger particles. And then over here is Zoya's Eclipse, and it has some holographic in with the silver glitters, and they're also a little bit more sparse. They're not as densely packed in as Double Diamond. The extra this time was Orly Breathables The Antidote, and I'm actually comparing it to two other Orly's. On this side is Orly Breathables Astral Flare, and on this side is Orly's Bedrock Bloom from the fall of 2024. So this was actually the Color Pass right before this one. Actually, showed them in the wrong order too. But in the middle is the Antidote, which came as an extra with this Color Pass. On this side is Bedrock Bloom, and on this side is Astral Flare. Both Bedrock Bloom and Astral Flare are lighter and a little bit brighter, and I feel like the Antidote has just a touch more purple, but they're all that bright kind of berry red or berry pink, where they're kind of in between red and pink, and they have just a touch of purple in them. So my thoughts on the whole collection. I like the collection in general. It definitely wasn't my favorite Color Pass of 2024. My favorites from this collection are Last Run. I just think it's a really gorgeous blue. And I also really enjoyed both of the glitter polishes, Twinkling Lights and Double Diamond. Those three are colors that if I were just shopping for myself, I would probably buy them. I was a little disappointed to get two sort of beige neutrals in the same collection, especially since we got another beige neutral in the next collection. But overall, I thought that it was good. I was also a little disappointed that it wasn't fire themed because the other three from the year seemed to be elements. Anyway, what did you think of this collection? I would love to hear from you in the comments, and I will talk to you next time. Bye!